Hello, we are joined today by Sammy Ammons, Senior Specialist for Bike MS, as well as Gab Pipitone, who's the Volunteer Engagement Coordinator for the Greater Carolinas Chapter. And we want to thank them for being with us today to share with us some exciting ideas about an upcoming event here in New Bern, the MS Bikeathon. How long has that series been here, Sammy, in New Bern? Quite some time?
So this is actually our 29th annual event here in New Bern. And we actually have been in New Bern as a loop ride since 14 years ago. This ride originated out of Clayton, and it was a destination ride down to Atlantic Beach. So that is the 29th annual event, but we've actually been here in New Bern for a little over 14 years. So.
Real exciting.
Yeah.
A little bit of background. We know that multiple sclerosis can be a progressive attack on the central nervous system, and that most victims are generally diagnosed between the ages of 20 and 50. But our viewers may not be aware of the fact that actually more women are diagnosed and affected by this disease than men. Can you tell a little bit about how that you relate to the MS National Society and a little bit about the background on that?
Certainly. So really our ultimate goal of the National MS Society is a world free of MS. Currently there's only disease-modifying medications for this nasty disease.
Right.
There's 4 different kinds of MS. It ranges different severity is what we like to call it. There's various symptoms such as fatigue, vision problems, pain, and it really differs from person to person. So there's really no person that it affects the same. But really we're just raising money to invest in research and in programs for people affected by MS. This year we'll invest $43 million in research. And what we like to tell our people locally is some of that research is being done at East Carolina University, the University of Chapel Hill, and Duke University. So the local impact is here in North Carolina.
Great background. How did the MS Bikeathon fundraising event begin? How did that get started?
Yeah, so Bike MS has existed for over 100 years, and all in the United States. We have 84 different Bike MS events. Here in North Carolina, we have 3 different events. New Bern is our largest. We also have one in Clemens, North Carolina, that's called the Tour de Tanglewood. And we also have one in Sunset Beach, which is called Breakaway to the Beach.
How do you organize and coordinate an event of this size and this scope?
Yes, so what we like to say is it certainly takes an army. We have a team of 7 people, and Gab is included on our team. She coordinates the volunteers. Myself, I coordinate our New Bern ride. We have 2 other folks that coordinate our Tanglewood and Breakaway ride. And then specifically, we have other ladies that oversee the Greater Carolinas in general.
And you mentioned earlier, how many events like this are held across North Carolina?
3 events in North Carolina.
3 events in North Carolina.
So we have 3 Bike MS events in North Carolina, 17 Walk MS events, and 1 Muck Fest event.
Okay.
Which Muck Fest is like a mud run. It's a mud run 5K.
Okay. How many riders do you expect to participate in the event this year?
We're expecting a little under 2,000 riders, which is awesome. So we host 2,000 riders, thousands of family and friends, spectators, and 700 volunteers.
That's a lot of bicycles.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So watch out on the road for all of our cyclists that'll be out there riding for a good cause.
Well, we know that this event is scheduled for the 9th and 10th of September, but certainly your planning has to start way in advance of that. Can you tell us a little bit about how far back you've actually been working on this for this year?
Certainly. So really the planning starts in 2 years before the ride. So we already have a lot of things planned out for 2018. We really get down to business really the day after the event starts. We plan awards parties, we start recruiting, the day after the event. General registrations typically opens in December. So it takes a lot of planning and execution, organizing from our team internally.
How large a staff do you have to help you plan and coordinate and execute an event like this? How many folks are you talking about?
Yep, there's 7 of us on staff, but we also have 2 volunteer committees that we use. We have one here locally in New Bern, which about 25 people sit on, and we also have one in Raleigh, North Carolina, which about 20 people sit on. So it's more staff focused in general, but we certainly have the committee to help with in-kind donations, sponsorships, different kinds of fundraising, recruitment activities, acquisition opportunities, that kind of thing.
We know from past MS Bikeathons that the focal point of the activity is Union Point Park and now the Convention Center as well.
Yes.
You have folks that actually come and they, in many cases, will camp out at the park. You also have folks staying in hotels and other sponsored homes.
We do.
And so this is really, it's an entire weekend, and you start to show up when to get the show on the road.
So a lot of our folks will show up Friday afternoon. We start opening the registration and the camping starting at 3 p.m. So all of our campers check in, the hotels open, and all of the hotels pretty much in this area really are filled by this point in time. It's hard to find one. But we'll start that. The YMCA is another local accommodation opportunity. They really open the gym, and it's called indoor camping. It's kind of
camping, all right.
Bring your own air mattress
Sure.
and sleep on the floor and meet friends and stuff like that. So I would say activities start kicking off at 3 p.m. We have a party that night for all of our VIPs, which is our top fundraisers,
Sure.
committees, aldermen like yourself. And then everybody kind of calls it a night, and then we start again at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Okay. The Tour de France, a major multi-day cycling event, was just held in France, is about cycling competition for speed, multiple days. But this MS Bikeathon is different. You're really racing for a cure. Can you talk a little bit to that in terms of the event objectives and what you're trying to accomplish?
Yep, so one of our taglines is "Don't just ride, bike MS." Really this event is about, your teammates, the lifelong friends that you'll meet, raising money for a good cure,
right.
And then participating in an event that's more than an experience itself. It's not just an event like you're coming down and so many things happen during the event weekend, activities going on. And this itself is not a timed ride. It's just
getting out there and doing it.
Exactly, and participating for a good cause. And it gives you chills seeing all these people who are lined up in Union Point Park around the whole square, and they're all riding for one thing,
right.
to find a cure.
Cure.
We also have people who actually live with MS that are riding, and you can find those people very easily because they have I Ride with MS jerseys. So it definitely gives you chills seeing that.
Well, I've always been impressed from previous bikeathons that I've attended that you have all these different teams. How many teams do you expect to have, and how are those teams organized, and how they group together like that? That's amazing to me.
Yes, certainly. So we'll have about 140 teams.
140 teams.
140 teams participate this year. One of our things that we like to brag on here locally is Flight's Bike Shop has really taken a toll on raising their team members and raising a certain amount of money. Last year they grew over 130%. They raised a little over $60,000, and they increased the participation by about 60 members. We also have big teams coming from the Raleigh area who are kind of organized like cycling clubs.
Right.
So they do more than this ride together. They do other rides. They participate in weekly rides as a team at a different breweries and the greenways and stuff like that. So really our team base is, focused around friendships and riding together and, coming down to enjoy a weekend.
So they might participate in multiple events in different locations over the course of the year. How many different bike routes do you actually lay out for this event to accommodate all these riders?
Yep, so we have 4 different bike routes.
Okay.
We have a 30-mile, 50-mile, 75, and 100. So you can choose any of those routes. We offer both of those distances, both Saturday and Sunday. They're different routes, so you get different sceneries and stuff like that. And they are loop rides, so you start and finish both in Union Point Park.
Okay. Gab, can you tell us about the volunteer organization and how you go about creating the support that you need for supporting this 2-day event?
Yeah, our volunteers are outstanding. I mean, we have local volunteers that have already started helping us back in July, that have started helping us with our pack organization for our riders, and they help us all the way until post-event, weeks after New Bern Ride is over. And it's pretty outstanding. Like Sammy said, we have 700 volunteers that a lot of them come from the New Bern area, as well as people from all over. We have people from Greenville, North Carolina, from Raleigh. Our youngest age that you can volunteer at is 12, but we have volunteers all the way up into their late 70s, early 80s, which is pretty cool. And it's really outstanding about a lot of these volunteers is that a lot of them have a connection to MS, but a lot of them do not, and they come out just because they want to, make a difference, spend their time, give back to the community. And then when they do see this event, a lot of our first-time volunteers, they're blown away, and they come back year after year after year. We have volunteers that have been around for as long as the New Bern Ride has been around, for 30 years, which is pretty cool, and they just come year after year to come help us out. We have volunteers ranging from people to help us at registration, people to help us clean up, set up, which are a lot of our physically able people who can do a lot of the lifting. We have medical volunteers from a lot of the local hospitals. Carolina East has a huge medical support staff that comes out and helps us. Some of the most fun volunteer positions are our finish line cheerers, which really stand at the finish line and cheer on our riders, to get across, push that final last mile or two. And we also have our rest stop volunteers. So we have rest stops spread throughout all the routes. They come from groups, church groups, school groups. Someone who's living with an MS wants to be a rest stop captain, brings all their family and friends who would rather not ride, and they feed our riders, cheer them on as they're going through the route, and it's pretty awesome just to watch them. So this will be my first Bike MS ride in the Greater Carolinas chapter, and I'm very excited to see all of our hard work go and see all those volunteers kind of push through and give all the support to the riders and the staff.
Great. Well, we know bike safety is always a concern, and of course in your planning sessions, you've included the New Bern Police Department in terms of assistance. Can you talk a little bit about how you make the bike riding safer for the participants and even the volunteers as well?
Yeah. So our police support here locally is phenomenal. Like I said earlier, we meet once a month with our planning committee here locally, and we always have police representation at those meetings. Earlier this morning, since we're just one short month out, we actually met with our police support from all the different counties that we go in. We go turn by turn and figure out where we need support and really capture those busy intersections or busy turns.
Right.
And that is where we place our police support. We also have local CERT support, which is the folks that can coordinate traffic for us. So it's really just finding those heavy traffic areas and making sure that we have somebody there to keep our cyclists safe.
Okay. What time do things kick off? Now, Saturday morning, what time, and then it goes till what time on Sunday?
Yep, so Saturday morning, everybody kind of gets up, we serve breakfast, we start doing team photos, and then we'll actually go into our opening ceremony starting at 7:30 a.m. The riders take off around 8 a.m. It is a staggered start, which means that we release people in 5-minute waves, just for another safety concern. And then everybody will be on route by 9 a.m.
Okay, and through Sunday
afternoon? So that evening our route closes at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And then Sunday it's the same type of thing. We start at 8 a.m. sharp. All riders are on route by 9 a.m. and our route closes at 5 p.m. that night.
5 p.m. on Sundays, okay. Can you tell us about the impact that this has for the New Bern event in terms of fundraising and how that's changed over the years?
Yeah, certainly. So like I said earlier, we have 84 different Bike MS events, and New Bern is ranked the 11th largest as far as money raised is concerned.
That's 11th largest across the country?
Across the country.
Across the country.
Yes,
okay.
Which is phenomenal.
Right.
And that's all because of the support we get here locally. We raise about $1.7 million each year.
Okay.
And really our goal is $2 million because we think that New Bern has the capability to do that.
Well, New Bern is a smaller town with a big heart.
Exactly.
And we really expect that we're gonna reach that 2 million mark here, if not this year, sooner. And we'll just see how it goes. Are there any changes to what you're doing this year as opposed to previous years in terms of the format or outside events? Or
nope, it's kind of all the same. We like to add a little perk every now and then. One thing that we're really excited about is our football viewing tent. We have a local sponsor here, 252 ESPN Radio.
Okay.
So this is our first year working with them. We've done some on-air interviews as well with them, and they're actually coming to set up in Union Point Park. They're partnering with Aaron's here locally. They're bringing a bunch of TVs out. They're going to be casting live on their radio station. We're going to have some outdoor furniture and really just cast a bunch of football games, since that's when football season kicks off.
So it'll be a big weekend for Viking and football.
That's
Yes.
right.
in the city of New Bern.
That's
Okay.
right.
Super, that's great.
So really just adding more fun activities to do throughout the weekend. We've actually also partnered with the YMCA here locally, and
Okay.
they're offering a kids camp during the day.
Okay.
So it's for a low cost. It's just $25, and people K through 5th grade, the kids can go and they get on the bus with the YMCA and they go there for the day, and they've planned all these activities. We provide the lunch for the children, and then the parents are responsible for picking them up no later than 3:30. So that's a new partnership that we're excited
That sounds
for.
great. That's really exciting that you
Yeah.
got that additional participation. If we have viewers out there that want to get information on how they can support, how they can be involved, or even become riders, how should they contact staff, or who should they talk to?
Yep, so the easiest way to do that is to visit our event website at www.bikemsnewbern.org.
Okay.
From there, it lists all the information about the event weekend itself. You can join as a rider, join as a volunteer, or just figure out the event weekend details. You can also give me a call. My direct line is 919-792-1001 if you want to talk to a staff person directly.
Okay. Are there any particular qualifications in terms of someone becoming a rider, if they want to join a team, or they just want to start out first time? Is there anything that you want to know about them, or their equipment, or anything like that?
Certainly no qualifications per se. You do have to be 12 years or older.
Okay.
And the website is very good at directing you on exactly how to register and stuff like that. If you are interested in joining a certain team, we have a big teams list, or you can contact the staff directly, and we
Okay.
can hook you up with a good team in your local area.
Super, super. Anything else to add about this event?
I don't
Coming
think
up.
so. We're really excited. We're only 39 short days away. It really does take an army, and we really appreciate the support we get here locally.
Well, I know from watching NASCAR that they start off by saying, drivers, start your engines. And if you're watching horse racing, they say, riders up. Is there a particular phrase that you use to get things going before the event starts?
We always like to count them down from 10, and then
Right.
we like to say bikers to the start. We blow our air horn, and they get on the route.
Exactly.
Well, very good. Well, we certainly appreciate you ladies being with us today to share your upcoming event and activities for the New Bern MS Bike-a-thon, the 9th and 10th of September. And the only thing we have to say is bikers to the start line. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you. I
you.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.